Name's Edward Holt. I turned 60 last March. Nothing fancy, just a quiet roast with my kids and grandkids. I remember the smell of garlic lamb, the hum of their chatter, and the way my grandson sat beside me, like I was the anchor of the whole room. That day, I felt solid, real, like I still mattered. 3 weeks later, I was sitting half naked on crinkly exam paper while a young doctor avoided eye contact and said words that would hollow me out. Before we go further, shout out to Jamal for Bristol for dropping real thoughts in last week's story. If you're reading this now, drop your name and city in the comments. You just might hear it here next time. And if you believe in turning life around, hit like, share, and follow. Prostate cancer, he said, and moderate nerve impingement from spinal compression. Likely sciatica. The words sounded like someone else's news. I sat there, nodding like a man who'd just been told his MOT expired. I didn't know how to react. I asked practical questions, made half jokes, thanked him, and walked out like my legs weren't shaking under me. Back home, I put the kettle on and forgot to turn it off. Sat in my armchair in full winter coat, door wide open. I stayed there till dusk, listening to the wind move the neighbor's gate. I didn't tell the kids. Not yet. There's something about being the father, the one who always fixes things, that makes you hold your tongue even when the words are rotting in your mouth. I didn't want to see pity in their eyes. Didn't want to be their burden. So I shut the curtains, stopped answering calls, told myself I needed time to think. But truth was I was scared. Not just of the cancer. I was scared of becoming irrelevant, of fading slowly while the world carried on just fine without me. And that, more than anything, felt like the real death sentence. I started lying. Not big ones. Just the kind that buy you time. Yeah, I'm alright. Just tired. Back's a bit stiff. Nothing serious. I told the kids I'd been busy. Told the neighbors I was working on a new woodworking project in the shed. Truth was, the shed hadn't been opened in a month. My hands shook too much to hold a chisel, and I couldn't bend down without white-hot pain ripping down my left leg. The house smelled different. Old, like tea left too long in the pot and laundry that never quite dried. My daughter Sarah used a joke that my place always smelled like lemon and cedarwood. Now it just smelled stale. I kept the curtains shut, ate toast and biscuits for meals, watched old war documentaries on mute, letting the static sound of tanks and crackling voices fill the silence I couldn't bear. I stopped shaving. I stopped showering. I stopped being someone I recognized. At night, I'd sit on the edge of the bed, legs aching, bladder screaming, back burning, staring at the floor like it might offer some kind of answer. I thought about dying, not in a dramatic way. Not with notes or pills or cries for help. Just a slow fading out, letting the pain swallow me day by day, without protest, without noise. I told myself my kids were grown. They had their lives. I'd done enough. They'd be fine. Then one Sunday afternoon, I heard the lock click. Sarah. She still had a spare key from when I broke my ankle back in '08. I thought if I stayed quiet, maybe she'd leave. Instead, I heard her footsteps, firm, not frantic, and then the scrape of a chair beside me. She didn't say anything. She didn't cry or demand answers. She just put her hand on mine. And for the first time in weeks, I felt the weight of everything I'd been carrying loosen. Sarah came every Sunday after that. Like clockwork. She didn't fuss. Didn't treat me like I was fragile. She'd make a proper brew, open the bloody curtains without asking, and sit with me like we were waiting for a train together. No rush. No small talk unless I wanted it. One day she brought Tom with her. My eldest. He didn't say much either, but he stood in the kitchen for an hour cleaning out my fridge like it was a sacred task. Tossed the moldy cheddar, wiped the shelves down, lined it with fresh paper. Didn't even mention the smell. Next week, James came around with his kids. Said they missed my bad jokes and wanted me to teach them how to whittle again. I hadn't touched my tools in months, but I smiled and said, maybe next week. And I meant it. The following morning, I made scrambled eggs. Not toast, real eggs with pepper and a splash of milk the way I used to like them. It took effort. My back screamed the whole time. But I ate them at the table, like a man trying to be part of the world again. That same week, Sarah handed me a leaflet for a local men's group. Guys my age dealing with cancer, grief, back pain, life in general. I said no, of course. She didn't argue, just left it on the counter. I ended up going the next Tuesday. It was a church hall that smelled of floor polish and weak coffee. A few plastic chairs. A half-dozen men sitting in a circle, not making eye contact. I sat down, heart thudding. And then one of them, gray-bearded chap named Colin, said, "We were wondering when you'd turn up." Turns out they'd heard about me through Sarah. I hadn't realized how hard my kids had been fighting for me in the background. That night, for the first time in months, I slept through. The group saved me, not in some magical overnight way, but in the slow, quiet way that a room full of tired men can. Every Tuesday, we'd sit in that circle, talk about things we never told anyone. Leaking bladders, fear of death, feeling invisible. There was laughter too. Real, belly-deep laughter. That surprised me most. I started walking again. Short strolls at first. Then down to the allotment I'd neglected for 2 years. Dug up weeds with one hand and braced my back with the other. Painful, sure. But it reminded me I was still alive. Tom helped me get a mobility cushion for the car. James bought me new trainers, said my old ones looked like World War I relics. Sarah, she got me talking. She said, "You know, Dad, other men are going through exactly what you did alone." I shrugged. She handed me a microphone. Local radio. 10 minutes talking about my cancer, my back, my breakdown. I told the truth. Didn't dress it up. Said, I nearly gave up, but my kids didn't let me. That clip got passed around. Next thing I know, I'm doing talks at the hospital, sitting with newly diagnosed men who won't meet your eye until you say, "Mate, I've been there." And you have. I started a fundraiser. Simple stuff. Walks, bake sales, a pub quiz. Raise enough to buy reclining chairs for the chemo ward. And when one man in our Tuesday group couldn't afford his meds, we covered it. Quietly. No fuss. I wasn't just getting better. I was building something. I wasn't the man with cancer anymore. I was Ed Holt, father, neighbor, stubborn old git who wouldn't lie down. And that felt better than any prescription. It's been 3 years since that diagnosis. The cancer's under control now. Routine scans, blood work, the occasional rough week, but I'm upright. Breathing. Present. The sciatica's still there, sure. Some mornings I walk like I've got gravel in my spine. But I move. And moving is everything. We've turned that little Tuesday men's group into something bigger. Twice a month now, we open the doors to new faces. Men with tired eyes and clenched jaws who think they've come to listen, but end up talking. And when they do, I sit beside them, not above them. I give talks at the hospice, help carers understand what silence really means. We've raised thousands for mobility gear, mental health support, even house repairs for older blokes who just can't manage anymore. Every pound feels like a hand on someone's back, steadying them. And the best part? My grandkids come to the events. They see their granddad not as a sick man, but a man who kept showing up, who got knocked down and didn't stay there. I don't have big dreams now. No bucket lists. No chasing sunsets. But every time someone says, "Hearing your story helped me," I feel like I've already won. And when I sit in my garden, mug in hand, sun warming my knees, I don't feel broken. I feel useful. And that, at 63, is everything. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and share it. Your support helps stories like Ed's reach others who need them. No shout-outs this time, just a thank you. For reading, for feeling, and for being here. See you in the next one.